Guys, please don't forget to subscribe on the channel of Wealth Munshi. Click on the bell icon and get the latest updates.
So friends, last video we discussed about what is a debt. This episode is the episode number 11. We're going to talk about what is an expense. Now, what's an expense? An expense is something which you outgo from your cash flow or from your savings. This money is not actually investment and it is never going to come back to you. In making wealth, managing expense is extremely important. This is one of the bases for a long-term wealth creation. And we always tell all our investors, save first and then spend. You will always make sure that you never overspend. Secondly, one who can manage the expenses also has a surplus to invest or save. So expenses management is extremely important, and our digital platform gives you a detailed expense head for a month, quarter, half year or yearly, which you can manage each and every week. So when we do a digital financial health check, we basically give you two options. Whereas when you put a lump sum to a monthly expenditure, and second is when you go estimated expense with each head. We always recommend all our clients to work on the expense head part because it gives you a detailed understanding for each expense which you do. There are two main kinds of expenses. One is a kind of fixed expense, which is a monthly outgo which has to be done mandatory. Second is a discretionary expense, something which you have an option to spend or you have an option not. Once work on your expenses, you will realize that there could be a lot of expenses which are variable expenses or discretionary expenses can be managed well. And during these COVID times, when husband and wife, partners and business associates have sat down together, they realized yes, they can cut out a lot of unnecessary expenses. So as I said, there are two kinds of expenses. There are many types of expenses. Expenses could be financial expense. It could be an emotional expense, it could be a luxury expense, it could be an expense for any kind of a bonding which you have with someone. So the expenses can vary, but most importantly what you have to realize is your expenses, जैसे हम हिंदी में बोलते हैं, आपका जितनी चादर है, आप उतना ही खर्चा करें. And that is very important, that is very right, and that has to be maintained every time. The most common expenses which we noticed in a retail portfolio is for house, it could be a rent, it could be for office, it could be for rent for commercial office. In a retail client, it could be education, it could be utilities, it could be insurance. Now insurance also is an expense. There are two kinds of insurance which are expense which do not give you a return of money. One is a health insurance, one is a term insurance because you never get back money from this. Then there's a lot of expense which comes as a dependent care. It could be for parents who have not saved enough for their retirement and they are dependent financially on the kids. Right? And lastly but not the least is a luxury expense. This could be a gymnasium, it could be going to a club, it could be a membership of any kind of association, it could be going for a holiday, etc. etc. These are the major and most common expenses we have come across in the retail and a corporate. Now post-COVID, there are a lot of questions which have arisen between partners. The questions are, should I stop my insurance? Should I stop paying the EMIs for a moratorium? Should I stop my SIPs? Should I stop my savings? Now this totally is very subjective depending on each family. If there is a huge salary cut and you are not able to manage expenses, this again would create a dent in your expense schedule. Secondly, if you've not created enough backup for your savings or you've not created a contingency fund from your money which is left over every month, we always recommend all the clients and investors that whatever money is left in the month, invest that into a debt fund, which over a period of time you will realize has created a huge corpus. In fact, few of the clients have started to do this from March. That's when the lockdown had started. Now it's August, and people have realized that the small money which they have saved over this period of time has really come out to be greatly handy as a contingency or emergency fund to create a backup when they need the most. A big misconception is that what you're spending today, your expenses will go down when you are retiring. Actually, it does not. There are two major expenses which definitely go down. One is your housing loan EMI, and second is any cost of education which you're doing for your kids. But you have to realize the cost of inflation. The same money which you're spending today would not have the similar value when you retire. And that goes up so drastically over a period of time that it actually becomes quite a high expense. Second thing is very important for us to know that there's a misconception again that men manage expenses better. Actually, it is not. And we have realized this during the COVID times. The wives, the spouse, the homemakers, the best partners of yours are aware about the expenses much more than you are. I'm talking about all the male members including me. So everybody has to realize that please give them the importance when you do a financial health check. Because they have a lot of expenses and nitty-gritties to manage, which even we are not aware due to our office working times. And since now, if all of you, husband and wife, are working from home, this is the best time for you to sit down and for each head work out the expenditure. And a financial health check gives you that option with each head. Lastly, but not the least, a very important expenditure is protection for a major critical illness. Cancer, heart attack, CABG, this takes up a lot of money. And a lot of the health insurance which corporates provide is not enough to fund for a cancer care. We recommend that you should always have a cancer care protection for yourself, for your loved ones, whenever you are healthy, not when you are unhealthy. And we have noticed that this has become kind of a mandate. A lot of people are saying that doctors are expecting by 2025 every family will have a cancer patient. That's a matter of concern. And it's not because of any other reason, it's because of the expenses which we do which is not needed. Popcorns, I was reading somewhere that popcorns are also effective. Secondly, we don't wash our vegetables and fruits. The more beautiful the vegetables and fruits are, the more chemicals they are put in them. And lastly, but not the least, a very lethargic lifestyle. Eating oily food, eating food which is not healthy and which is not exercising. We do not have any physical activity today. We are at home. From home when office staff will be in the car. From the car we go to the office. There is actually no physical activity. It's very important for you to realize that you have to get into some physical activity. And last but not the least, please give the importance to your wife. She can manage the expenses much better than all of us. Trust me on this, I've noticed a lot of families, it could not be possible for some of them, but it helps. Give them the due importance. Thank you so much for your time. Be digital, be safe.